Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. We just finished up with exercise 4, which is vehicle maintenance. So not only do we have to get a car in exercise 3, exercise 4 has to have vehicle maintenance to pay for tires and brakes and oil changes and things of that nature. Another tail to owning a vehicle is what you're going to pay to put gas in it. And so this is a chapter that we covered pretty extensively, and we are going to do it here as well in terms of the exercise. You can see that is in video 3, section 3.5 for reference, or a complete set of instructions, but we have most of them in here. So what you need to do is do a few things here that are going to allow you to understand how much you're going to get out of your car in terms of tank, gas mileage, and how many miles you're going to drive. So you can see a few things here that are important. You can understand what the gas mileage is, right? You can get that from your manual. You can go on the internet and find out what is my Ford Focus 2016 get miles per gallon, and they'll give it to you city highway that we've already looked back in another chapter. How many miles are you driving each week? And then you need to determine the percentage of highway and city. You can pretty much put these as one, unless you do a lot of highway miles. You could say, you could err on the side of this is how many miles I'm getting. And so what we're saying here is that if you get 35 city, you do a lot of city driving, you want to base your summation based on city miles that you have based off this grid here. If you got 45 on the highway and you do a lot of highway driving, you might lean toward the side of this is what I'm getting. Now, most newer cars tend to have a trip calculator, so they tell you how far you've gone. If you follow that, that helps you out, or you certainly can also just tell you the miles per gallon on your car. It's usually fairly accurate. It stays pretty consistent, so you can use those as gauges. But when you get a new car, you might not know this information. You might need to go through a couple of cycles of driving the car to see what you're establishing for an average until till the fluctuations are very minimal. So until you get to that point, you really need to understand before you get the car of what am I doing for my driving. And so we've talked about this in the book/videos, and you can see this is a simple checklist here of work and gym and errands and family and friends and leisure activities, things like that. Again, it's an estimation. It's hard to nail that down. You just do your best, but you should be within the ballpark of what you're driving all the time. And the other piece you want to understand is when you're performing your 12-month budget exercise, you want to add 25 cents to the cost, because the price fluctuations in gas happen so much that it is hard to really understand what the price is going to be. So you rather give yourself a little surplus. So what we're saying here is, let's look down in this example. We see that the base budget that came from Jasper's was $85 a month. So when you run your exercise, let's say it was $85 a month, right? Yours is actually going to be higher than this. So when he ran his calculations, he may have said, for example, it was $250, but what he did is he actually said, what I'm really paying for is $2.75. And again, this gives you a surplus to play with, because if you fluctuate and go over that 25 cents, you have some surplus to play with. And that also means if it goes above that after a while, you're going to run out of that surplus and you're going to need to adjust your number. So we like to create some padding in here. That means when you run this exercise in here, there's a good chance that you're not even going to need any of this added cash, because you're raising the price by 25 cents. You're just adding the extra 25 cents on there in your calculation. Okay, so you need to go in, and again, a couple things is go back to the book, refer back to the calculations in there to help you get through this, but the basic information's been provided in here. And just remember that you're going to need to do the trip calculator and then calculate the miles you're getting per gallon and how much you're getting out per tank, and then run the 12-month budget exercise so you can predict if you need any added cash. And then once you come up with that, then you put that in your budget, and then certainly you will have a new line item like you would be right here for your monthly amount. Okay, so that's going to do it for here, and then we're going to get into another tail into owning a vehicle, which is auto insurance. Okay, so thanks for joining, and we will see you in the next video.